Robert.
Outdoor service owners, Rizzle and Schnizzle, it's time to start fueling your success one adventure at a time. Welcome to Outdoors the Entrepreneur, brought to you by House Call Pro, where business owners learn and explore ways to take charge and level up. Today, we're going to talk about, should you provide mass, low-cost services, or should you choose a model of lower volume, niche services? We're going to talk about pros and cons of each. We are your host. I am Kevin Fontaine, and this is my chum from another mom, Patrick Harders. Join us on this journey every Wednesday. Like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on our social media platforms at Outdoorsy Boss. What's going on, Pat?
Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Getting ready for our company party. We hit our month in May, so we're excited to hit the numbers we wanted to. So I got one guy that does sushi on the weekends. He's making sushi, grilling out, cornhole, just the stuff. And then obviously I do a cornhole tournament tonight. So
I didn't get an invite? What the hell, man?
Head on up. It's only about 3 hours.
When are you doing it, tonight or tomorrow?
Today I'm doing the company cookout, and then tonight I have 20, 30 guys coming by for another event.
Damn, long nighter. I hear you.
Turns into that.
That's cool, man. That'll be tons of fun right there.
Yeah.
What's going on in Virginia, man? The people are getting E. coli from the lakes.
I saw that. I just saw the fish are all dying off. Good idea to put sewage into the lakes and to the bays. I mean, we are environmentally friendly.
Well, it happens here too. It happens everywhere.
Well, I'm excited
for lovers. F that.
We're fixing our state. We're getting there. We used to be a shining jewel at one point, but we'll fix it all.
It's nice. Virginia's pretty.
Yeah. I'm excited for today's topic. This is a good one. This is a kind of deeper dive, thought-provoking, getting into the essence behind what are you offering your customers. So I find this a fascinating topic, and it's something that you could just grind through your daily activity, never think about, and not really know what you're doing or what lane you're going after.
Right. And, me and you both, when we started our companies over 25 years ago, today we generate millions of dollars, right? But me and you started on a wing and a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer, Bon Jovi said. And that's what we did. We hoped and prayed tomorrow'd be better. We had zero business acumen. And we started with the low cost volume model in our brain. Because what were you saying, Pat, about someone told you about a way to run your business when you got started? What was it?
Well, there's two things. I've had my original trainer in lighting, Tom Fettig. I remember after we got done and we went through all these different programs, kind of mentored me. He said, I've taught you everything I can teach you in lighting. Now go out, be a good little whore, and sell yourself for whatever people will give you money for.
A good little whore.
And we were that. It was just like, this job comes to $6,000. Person's like, I'll do it for $3,000, and it's like, how about $3,500? And
Fuck
I'm
it,
like,
$2,500, bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I used to do it too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got a bid for $3,000? I'll do it for $2,700.
Yeah. My competitor must have known his pricing. I must have been charging too much. So
yeah,
he's a smart guy.
I'm way out of line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I had a discussion with my father-in-law, actually, and it was a book he was going through, and it was talking about how to make real money in America. And it got me thinking about it, but it was saying, if you could provide luxury to the masses, you're going to make a lot of money. And you think of Victoria's Secret or Starbucks or things like that. So I was like, well, maybe that's
Beats.
the model. Yeah.
Hell, Beats was an upgrade from your standard headphones, and then they were expensive, but all the cool kids and the sports and music people just love them, right?
Oh, yeah. So I thought, well, maybe that's what I could do in lighting and build this mega huge operation that we're offering something nobody else can for great prices, and over deliver on service. And it was hard. That was a really hard thing to do because it's if I want to have great customer service, I have to have great people on the phones. I have to have great technicians, great designs, put in products.
Game.
And so each time I kept doing it, I'm like, well, I'm starting to just price myself out of that mid-range of like offering luxury to the masses. So I usually see people kind of go in steps. They start off, as I was being the little whore, selling yourself for whatever you can get, to like,
Yeah.
all right, now I want to up it and be a little more luxurious. But every time you did it, it cost more. And so my profitability went down. And then, we
Yeah.
settled on like, hey, we go after the high end.
No doubt. So that's a business change you made and evolved towards, and it takes time. There's a saying, solve rich people's problems, they pay better.
Yeah.
And that's so true. Elon Musk said you can either do a lot of good for a small amount of people or do a little good for a large amount of people. So there's two different mindsets, the mass low cost model, Walmart, or the niche
Mm-hmm.
high end serving less customers, but you're making so much more in profit and you're setting yourself on an island where there's very little sharks in that water to compete with you. So let's look first at volume, the high volume,
Mm-hmm.
the low cost, high volume. Starting out selling a low cost service to the masses is seems like a good start and usually is for a lot of folks because it doesn't take a lot of money to get started. Mower, blower, and you're off, right, to the races.
Yeah.
Typically, you don't have a lot of business acumen and you don't have much experience at that point. So it comes naturally to us to naturally want to start up, compete with everybody else in this mass market and, haggle with people on pricing. Oh, he's paying this. Well, I'll charge that type thing. And it comes naturally for the novice business owner.
Yeah. And when you start off, your expenses are low. You have one truck, what you're not equating is like the work that you're doing is really, money that you're going to have to pay somebody for at some point. So at the beginning, you're doing all the work, you're running around doing it. Also, I'm like, of course you could be cheaper than somebody else who's
Right.
got, 5 trucks, 12 guys, an office, all that adds expenses. And those
Yep.
expenses have to be in the price. So,
Yeah.
it's good from a competition standpoint. It keeps everybody honest that's there. But you are able to do it at the beginning, but you're going to have to increase your prices down the road, which ends up a lot of times you could lose a lot of your customers if you end up doubling your price in 2 years.
Yeah.
Uh,
And, people that are value conscious and that is part of that mass market culture. Um, when they spend $50 a week or $1,000 on an install, that's quite a bit of money for them. So they prize that money. So it's not like, high end customers, $50 a service or $1,000 install. That's nothing to them.
yeah.
So if the value's there, they'll jump on that. But volume type business, the low cost type model, that can and will work if you can keep certain infrastructures in place, dependable staff. You're going to have to do some training. You have to motivate. You're going to have to pay well. You're going to run around with a chicken like your head's cut off for sure because you're dealing with a lot more clients.
Mm-hmm.
So that volume is going to bring a lot more calls, questions, texts. Hey, when are you coming? Hey, the rain's here. When are you coming? Whatever.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to staff up. You're going to have to deliver. The key, I think, Pat, especially volume based, is efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have efficiencies. Look at Walmart. They stack the shelves the same no matter which store you go to in which town. Um, they're buying from big bulk vendors that they're highly organized. They got
Yeah.
into delivery now to compete with Amazon, but super efficient. Their prices are low and valuable for most of the population. And so you got to have efficiencies, consistencies to keep that low cost consistent. And that can happen like in a service business with efficient routing. You're going to have good, dependable equipment. You're going to have really routine equipment maintenance is crucial because you got to keep that equipment
Yeah.
operating at a high rate of efficiency. You don't want any breakdowns because that's just going to eat into your little profit that you're making. And you're going to want field software such as House Call Pro, etc., because you want efficiency, man. Just bam, where do I go next? Bam, let's go. Bam, let's go,
Yeah, everything's being measured. And I know we had a mosquito squad guy on before, and probably the best guy in that industry that I knew is a guy named Dave Macchia, and he was running a $17 million mosquito control company. And his whole thing was like, we have to be better than everybody at service. So they had staffing 24/7, 365 for phones. So you
Wow.
could call for a mosquito control company Christmas Day and get somebody on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it was like they had overabundance of trucks. You know, if 4 trucks went down, they had 2 more trucks in the wing.
Yep.
So they were able to, really build it out and build a big, big company. But he really had to be a great businessman to do that because his margins were really low.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just about like, hey, how do we get every truck doing 20 sprays a day, every single day?
Right.
And that meant he had multiple locations. He had, quite an infrastructure built up. It was almost like a little military complex of how he
Yeah.
had to run it.
And I think keeping it simple is key. Mosquito service, what do? They kill
Yep.
mosquitoes, right?
One thing, backpack
You
blower and
know,
spray.
if you're a lawn mowing guy like I was, just mow lawns, mow, blow, and go, baby. I'm not doing any
Yeah.
chemical apps. I'm not planting anything. I'm just doing one thing. My horse blinders were on. We got super efficient. We got tons of customers each week, and you scale. And then
Yeah.
eventually, your mindset may change, but running that type of business, that mass type business, works if you
Mm-hmm.
do those things. And also, Pat, you definitely need to run off a good budget. So develop a simple budget if you're just getting started out. Know your pricing. We talked to ZebBit, Pat, the last couple of weeks, and they have this estimating platform that's quick and easy. Your budget's already inputted, so your
Yeah.
numbers are there instantaneous. So it's quick and accurate. So you're going to want to quote accurate. You're going to want to provide tons of service, which can be stressful, but those profits that we make off mass is small. You're lucky to get 5 to 10, maybe 15% if you're really kick ass at it. So scaling and management is required to exponentially recoup and reap that profit that you're making, right, from each one, because you need to, this profit that you make, that 5 to 15% range, let's say, that's the money you need to invest in your company
Yeah.
and grow with and plan a retirement from,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, and a lot of times people want to jump the stages, and they don't want to go through the education. So I see guys that they start off cutting grass, and when they're starting off, they're cheap. So it's kind of like anything. If you're not paying a lot of money, you put up with more crap. You kind of expect it. I hired Max, the drywall guy. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting like I was
Yeah,
like,
it
hey,
has to be.
if this wall stands and it takes paint, I'm happy. But you
Right.
see like a guy cutting grass and he's just learning. So, he takes the trimmer in the small section and just trims all the grass instead of mowing it because it's going to be faster. And all of a sudden you start looking at your grass and it's, rooted at one spot and long in the others and uneven. And you go, like, well, that's fine if I'm paying, $50 or $70. If all of a sudden he says, hey, your price is now 150 and I get that result, then I'm pissed off because like, all right, now I'm paying for a premium service. So,
Yeah.
you can't just say I'm charging more because I want to be more expensive. You have to be, good at what you do to charge that extra level.
I had a story about hiring quickly and not training properly, et cetera. I hired a young kid, took him out. Well, this is when I was working in the truck, and we're out at Brennan Station. It's a shopping center out in Raleigh. And I gave him, because you want to be kind of nurturing to new staff. And so I gave him my riding John Deere mower
Yeah.
to use. And I'll go string trim and do
Mm-hmm.
the ugly work myself. Didn't quite show him the property well enough, because it has all
Just assumed
kinds.
he'd know. Yeah.
Well, because I've been there 1,000 times. He should know, right?
Yeah.
Well, I go do my thing. He goes and does his thing. I kind of point to where, follow that line, yada, yada, mow that grass.
Go this way and then come back.
Came back to the truck he should have been well finished by now. Can't find him. I start walking around looking. The damn guy's in a ditch with the mower on top of him. He
Nice.
had went down with the small John Deere tractor. He actually was riding a culvert pipe covered with pine straw.
Okay.
It slid. The pine straw slid the tire. He just followed that culvert pipe down, and it was only like 3 feet.
Yeah.
So he was just a nice quick overturn. But, he was like, damn, man, I've been here for like 10 minutes. I can't get this thing off me.
Yeah.
But he was safe and sound and all that good stuff. But shit
So you
happens
fired
when
him?
yeah, then I fired him. Get out of here. No, he's actually with me for a while, but he was shook up.
Yeah.
So, when you're running and gunning and efficiencies matter, you don't tend to spend the time and the quality time to train that back end stuff that happens as you grow more niche and niche. So, I got a question for the audience. Put in the comments below, would you rather run a service with 50 volume clients that make 10% profit, or a business that does service to 15 niche clients making 25% profit? Put it in the comments below. Let me know which model you would choose.
Yeah.
And Pat, so let's take a scenario here. Let's run a scenario of weekly service scenario. Let's do a Moblo Go for this. And I've got 50 clients. They're paying me $50 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
That's $2,500 in revenue. After paying, all the overhead, gas, trucks, helpers, insurance, congrats, you just made a profit take home of $250 because we made 10% profit here. Okay. Let's take another model, which is more niche, high end. It's full service landscape management. This is your total landscape care. Now you're doing fertility, pruning, leaves, etc. Your per man hour rate's higher.
Mm-hmm.
And so you price 15 clients, they're going to pay an average of $180 a week on average. By the way, this is low. We have HOA clients paying thousands of dollars per week now. But anyway, 15 clients paying $180 a pop. You're making 25% profit because you're charging more per hour. That is going to give you $2,700. And after paying all your overhead cost, that 25% profit nets you $675. So that's a pretty big mindset difference, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah,
50 clients, huge. $250, or 15 clients, $675.
Yeah. And I was trained up with Tom Grandy, and those one of his models that he used, he said you could have a 10% increase. Like, let's say a volume like we've had, 10% increase and lose 30% of your customers and make the same amount of money. And I went,
wow. Okay.
And you think about the 30% of the customers that I would like to lose, because I think there's a psychology that goes into when you kind of push somebody to the limit of what they want to spend, where they're reaching for it. And they're like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to spend, $6,000 on lighting.
Right.
Well, then anything that goes wrong that's not perfect, they're freaking out because, to them, they just did their big splurge. Yep. And so it's like you have a tougher client to deal with, even though you may have even discounted down. My toughest customers are my discount customers, the ones that are negotiating, because they thought it was going to be $3,000. It was $6,000. My price was $8,000. So I'm not happy at that $6,000 mark. They're not happy at their mark as well. And so then when something goes wrong, it's like chaos, and you're going like, oh, we were out there 5 more times. We had adjustments.
That's so true. And be careful, guys, when you're out bidding and you surpass someone's budget on a quote and you lower that price just to tap out their max, you're going to could have a whirlwind of nightmares on your hands. Because number one, you're going to try to cheat your own budget for the quote to make a profit. So you're going to cut corners. You're going to rush things. You're going to maybe not do a quality step or two. So that comes back to haunt you because, like, say, Patrick's lighting service, if he rushes his guys on an install, they may not bury the wires deep enough.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? That's a callback service
Coming all the
call,
way back to do it again.
and then you're losing money now. So that's so true.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges. The other one that was a big thing is, the 10% increase in price. We started going on every job and looking to make sure every job, we're shooting for a 30% margin on each project. But then I got into it and I'm like, all right, every job made money, but we lost money this month. What happened? And so I went back to coaching. Been doing this 25 years. I still get coaching. So if you're new, don't be ashamed to sign up for coaching programs.
Right.
But I looked at it and he goes, well, your billable man hours are too low. I'm like, what? Every job was profitable. He goes, yeah, but you have your fixed costs in there. And if you're not meeting the minimum billable hours, you're not making money.
Okay.
And so then we had to kind of look at it and go like, all right, it's that balancing act of like, hey, I need to make sure every job is profitable. But if I just do one job that's really profitable and, we only work for a week out of the month, we're not making money. So it's
exactly.
like you have to have, you're kind of balancing it the whole time. And that's what one of the challenges in running a business is like, how do I sell as much as possible to get as many billable man hours and get the billable rate that I want? And if you can harness those two things together, then you're printing money. But until that point, you're going to have ebbs and flows, and then you have seasonality and everything else that happens. So those are all just things you should be looking at as you're bidding out your projects and building out your man hours.
Exactamundo. And now let's look at niche, higher cost service, more value building techniques. You're expanding your horizons. You're adding on services now to become an expert in your field. Yeah. You're developing that niche to, get to that blue ocean strategy that me and Pat believe in. So niche clients expect a higher end look and service, but when you deliver that, they have no problem paying you more and they will buy more from you. Mm-hmm. So this is like, okay, you're doing recurring service for them now.
Yeah.
You start expanding to installations, say lighting add-ons or plants, etc. Bam. You're farming your existing customers. They're going to buy from you because you've already established that relationship. And now you don't have to spend additional money on marketing. So your acquisition cost for customers goes down and you're getting higher revenue and profits from the same customer. You're building that lifelong reputation with them. So,
yeah, I think that it's education is what you need. I go back to a customer that's like, I had 4 different turf guys out. None of them can solve my problem. And you would probably know this right away, but he had big circles of dead spots in his yard. And so they're putting fertilizer down. They're doing all this. And a guy came by and was like, you have a fungal infection. You need to treat the fungus. Yeah. The guy that knew it got all the business, but it's like, in lighting, I need to understand electricity. I need to understand trees. Like I can't just be like, light up the big tree here, and then this other medium-sized tree we're going to light up. Like I need to know what the tree looks like, what its name is. You listen to Jan Moyer and everything's in Latin. Mm-hmm. And you come Latin at a different names. Level, and different level where you're talking to your customers on an educated platform because mm-hmm. you should be the one that's studied. If you're in turf maintenance, you should know more about grass than all your customers. Like you should look at things and go, here's the problem you have now. This type of grass is overtaking. Here's the type of weed. It comes in the spring. Lighting's the same way where it's like, I need to know everything I just consume knowledge when it comes to lighting.
Yeah. And I found a lot of my lower end clients would try to act like they knew more than me.
Yeah.
I've been studying NCSU's lawn fertility plan and, mm-hmm. They say you need to do this. And I was like, well, it just depends, sir. On your particular lawn, you've got mature trees with roots stabbing into all your lawn areas from the edge line. They're sucking all your lawn fertility out of the ground. Yeah. So it's just, so you're going to get some people that are super picky, but I've found, Pat, niche customers, once you've established that relationship and you're providing a consistent quality service, they pretty much, you never hear from them much after that. As long as you keep things going smoothly and you mm-hmm. update them and keep a open line communication going, say with a blog post or newsletter, social media post, Man, I sometimes I won't hear from my customers all year until renewal time.
Yeah, I would say that if you are charging more, you have to perform better. And like I'm amazed when I go out and see jobs. I saw a job not that long ago. They had 12 gauge wire run on the deck with wire nuts on the back of each deck light.
Sweet.
And I was like, holy crap, I would never be able to get away with doing something like this. Like the
So
fact that,
half-ass.
so half assed and like, well, they were cheap. Now that I'm coming in and I'm twice as much or three times more, like they want it done perfect now. Like, all right, we're going to spend to have it done right, but you better make sure it's done perfectly. And so, your good customer that you're really targeting is one that's going to respect, what you're doing and honor like your artistic value. They're going to honor your quality, your care, your passion, but you have to deliver on that. You can't do it half-ass and then just say, I'm going to fake it and pretend I'm the best by charging more money because you'll get eaten up.
Yeah, the riches are in the niches. Wealthy people want someone who can handle all the needs
Mm-hmm.
more and more today. They're beyond keeping, say, the grounds manicured. They want the irrigation system managed. They want IPM, integrated pest management. They want drainage components checked out, seasonal plantings, replacements. Um, you know, high end clients are harder to obtain, sure. They cost more to find. They take some unique advertising and marketing that's needed to get them. A lot of times, Pat, high end clients typically don't just research Google.
No.
They typically like to be referred by someone like a neighbor, a friend, a colleague to get a new service provider at their home. So they're a lot more sophisticated as far as researching service people. They don't look up on Craigslist. They don't
Yeah. Facebook
write down.
Marketplace.
They don't. Yeah, they don't write down the number on a yard sign that's on an intersection of a
Yeah.
highway.
Yeah.
That's
They've
just
been
not
there,
what
done
they
it.
do.
Well, I think you're dealing a lot of times with a very educated customer. And, we had a discussion recently where the customer's like, hey, I got 3 quotes. Everybody else is on a per fixture basis, which is just a dumb way that a lot of lighting guys price things out. He said,
Okay.
why don't you do it this way? And I'm like, well, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like business wise, if I got 8 man hours to go 500 feet to put light on a tree, I shouldn't charge you the same as if I'm putting 3 lights
Right.
on the same tree.
That's right.
And he's like, oh, I'm like, I don't know where they made up their numbers or what they're doing, but they're just not good business people. And like
Exactly.
right there, he knew it. He goes, that makes a lot more sense. But
Yeah.
they
Think
are
about it. I
they are
charge.
educated.
Yeah, if you charge per light or whatever, okay, well, come do 3 lights for me then.
Yeah.
You're not going to make any
Here,
money.
there, and there.
Yeah, exactly. And how
Yeah.
far away are they? And all that stuff matters. That's all part of
Yeah.
the job. That's why you got to price the job, not this per
Yeah.
unit
Yeah.
structure that so many people do. That's even in lawn care. I charge so much per square foot to XYZ. That's okay from a far look at an industry,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just going to scratch the surface on how you should be pricing. Pricing's all about obtaining all the costs involved: travel time, time on job, materials, equipment needed for that job, and then your overhead and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning, people just wing it, wanger, living on a prayer, Bon Jovi style. They just run and gun, and then they find out. They'll scratch their knees. Your knees will get skin up eventually because it'll catch up to you big time. As you transition towards these niche models, say you're doing mass and you want to go niche, add on these higher end or more specialized services, but do one at a time and do it slowly. So if you're a Moblo Go guy and you want to add a fertility program or an integrated pest management program, do that and trial that
Yeah.
and then price that accordingly because it costs time. You got to invest in your certification and licensing. You have to then train a staff member, let's say. You got to start labeling containers and have the proper equipment to apply these products, etc. So,
Yeah.
don't add two or three or four specialized services all at once, because then it's going to bite you in the butt. So that would be my advice, is as you're transitioning to this niche platform, go slow and do
Hmm.
it one at a time.
And I would push a little bit on, the more niche you are, the more in depth the proposal process is. So, like Mosquito Squad, I'm very familiar with their business. And when they started off, they would go and visit every property and measure every property. And it was just like, if you're getting 1,000 customers coming in a week and trying to send 10 sales guys out to go meet with the customers and do all that, in that kind of business, it made a lot more sense to take an aerial of the property, get the square footage. There's programs that'll help you do that.
Mm-hmm.
They would then estimate it out, and they say, sometimes we might make a mistake, but we try and make each proposal profitable. So we're going to go a little bit on the high end. If you're doing something like a landscape plan and you want to do it all from Zoom and, just take a aerial shot, drop a patio on, and you didn't even look at the grading on the property, and it's like, oh, this has a 18-inch slope, that's going to make a huge difference on your patio if you have to remove 18 inches of dirt before getting started.
Yeah.
So, I think as you get more niche, the proposal process becomes more important. Lighting is very detailed. So it's like, we had just recently, we had one customer's like, hey, can you fix a post lantern too while you're out here? I had 3 guys out there for 3 hours fixing a post lantern. That was just to throw in on the job, Michael. That's the profit on that job was gone.
Right.
And it was like, so, you could make a little mistake that just kills it. So I think like, if you're blow and go, you could probably be a little bit more loose on your proposal from the standpoint of, hey, every home in Willisford is a half an acre
Yeah.
property. They all look pretty similar.
Yeah.
We're charging $139 a cut, and you figure it out
Exactly.
like on one property, and the rest are going to be close. There might be some that you readjust the next year, but if you're doing something like building a landscape plan, you're going to take detail.
Yeah, and that's, Moblo Go, say, lawn care providers that do just fertility and weed applications. You get postcards all the time. Your first application, $49, up
Yeah.
to half acre. And then, they throw out these generalities to capture a wide net of fish. And
Mm-hmm.
then they'll adjust their prices. Some people get pissed and knock them out. And that's just volume, man, just all about volume. Bring in tons of people, lose half of them, and then get another 100 people, lose half because of price. You can't perform to their standard, etc.
Yeah.
And it's a different model. It's hot and heavy. And back to niche though, rich people value expertise, time, and solutions. Time's a big one. More specialized, the more time you save them from having to find someone else to solve a problem.
Yeah.
So your network will naturally grow. So now you can recommend them a good tree service, say a painting company, a power washing company, etc. And those networks of people that you start developing will also in turn start sending you business, which is a killer
Yeah.
positive there. So rich people, they'll pay a premium when you can solve their problem quickly, Pat. So, time's a big one for people that are very busy, make a lot of money. Time's their most valuable asset,
Mm-hmm.
us included. As you develop as a business owner, your time is going to be your most valuable asset going forward. So,
But no, it's
but
like there are customers that, the biggest thing that you hear is like, my customers tell me like, I just want to have somebody I call when there's a problem and you jump on it.
right.
And so, yeah, there's customers that I had one lady twice a year is like, hey, I have a party. It's Friday at 2:00. People are coming at 6, and I got 3 lights out. So it was like, we jumped on it. We're like, hey, we got to
Yeah.
stop everything and jump on this customer because they're an important customer. They've done a lot of business with us. They're going to continue. Eventually, we built into some of our programs. We came up with maintenance plans. And then there's the drop everything, the platinum plan. So like if you call
Okay.
us and we're on a $50,000 install and you have a problem and you want us to drop everything, we'll do it. Like I'll
Yeah.
stop the install and come to you, but you're going to pay us for that. And so
Exactly.
I've had very few people that go like, put me on that plan, but it's just
Yeah.
the option. So you will get your spoiled customers that call Friday at 4 o'clock, expecting you to drop everything to come out there. And you're like, we're already booked up. We're booked up till Monday.
Yeah.
So, I want to train them like, hey, we can offer these plans. It's just all it is time and money. And I could do anything with enough time and money. It's limited. So
Yeah.
if I'm going to
We
sacrifice time, I want more money.
So this is a big thing I worked on in my business of landscaping is as I grew and became more niche, I started upfitting all my trucks with these little detail problem solvers in the trucks. So even the account manager had a lighting repair kit. He had a backpack of Roundup in the back of the truck. I would upfit people because there's these little service calls that come on now more frequently. Hey, I've got weeds in my beds. Can you come pop those out? I got a party. Boom. This guy's got a little bit of uh, materials and equipment that are for the common problems already in the truck.
Don't be afraid, as you said, to get that network going so you can have a guy to do things like, if you're putting in outdoor kitchens, having a granite and a countertop guy, a paint guy, because your guy who's trimming may be great at trimming, may not be great at painting. And, having someone that you could also come back to and say, like, if I'm a little in over my head, I'm going to bring you into, automation and have you do the automation. I'll take care of the lighting. You control it and you could get the rest of the business inside the house. Like, I don't really care. I'm not doing that anyway. So there is points like if you just don't know if it's out of your comfort zone and you take that job that's going to just kill your profits, partner up with people.
Yeah, big time. And another thing, as you niche, you're going to want to have a strong mission and vision and develop the why you do what you do a lot more than mass marketing, because at that point, mass volume, low cost, that's your mission statement right there.
Yeah.
We're going to be the lowest cost provider, and that's your dependability factor, etc. Now, you can have a tagline and all kinds of things as well, even a mission statement, but as you niche, you become more specialized. That mission statement has to be a lot more encumbersome of a culture rather than that little service or that particular service that you're doing. So that's a big one. Like Pat, see, remember I told you we would put,
So
can you see that?
Your Sterling Lighting logo over there?
Yep. You see that? The C3?
Yeah.
So we started putting taglines and vision statements on our uniforms. And the C3 thing was, care, convenience, and communication. That was a concept of this is why we do what we do, and it's bigger and better than just what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we wanted all these things to be a mantra for our staff. Every day they see that logo, and they're like, customer says, hey, what's C3 mean? C3PO from Star Wars.
I was going to say, it's a Star Wars nerd analogy.
So, make it bigger and better. Have a mission, a vision, and a passion to why you do what you do, and you permeate that into your staff, into your customers, and it helps differentiate you from competition. And Pat, you were saying earlier, in order to get bigger and better, you're going to have to be better than the next guy.
Yeah.
Better than the competition. So that's what we're saying, guys, what do you think? Put it in the comments. What do you think after you listen to this? Are you pro low cost or are you pro niche, higher cost? Put it in the comments below. Let us know what you're thinking and what's working for you out there.
Yeah. And I will add in there on the niche side, let's say you become the most educated person in your field, whatever it is, you're the best one at it. Well, if you don't have a team that you're training up and making them better than everyone else, you become, for a while, it might as well have been called Patrick's Landscape Lighting because every customer wanted me. I had to go out to every job. They wanted me for service. And so it took a lot of time training my guys up so that they can sit there and meet with the customer and the customer no longer needs me. But you trap yourself into that field of like, hey, I don't get vacations anymore. I don't have free time because
you're not pushing that information down. Yeah. So you got to train your staff to do what you used to do And then that just gives you the freedom and the time to do something else, work on your business more, develop that business acumen that we preach each episode. And
No, I think it's, it goes back to training. It's why we started this whole program is you can't just say, I'm going to charge more because I just want more money, because the intelligent customer is not going to buy into that. So you have to have the education, you have to have the efficiencies built up, you have to have the team built up, and you have to know your numbers and be profitable. Because, I'd say a lot of people in our industry, they got into this because they like hands-on fun things to do. Like they could figure out how a motor works, but then say, hey, look at your numbers. And I'm guilty of that. It's like, look at your numbers constantly so you know where you're spending money, where it's going, what's working, what's not working, so you don't do it all and make no money.
Well, this wraps up this episode. Make sure you subscribe to the Outdoorsy Entrepreneur YouTube channel and hit those notifications, especially if you're valuing our information and what you like to listen to. Put in some comments what you'd like to hear us talk about next, and listen to wherever you get your podcast, and follow us on our social media platforms at Outdoorsy Boss. Business tools that we use and highly recommend. We use Big Tuna websites, House Call Pro field service software, and ZevBit estimation software. Check out the links in the description below. We have special Outdoorsy Boss discounts for each of those. All right, Pat, I can't wait to see you, buddy, in the next episode. We'll see you guys.
Have a good week.